Hi, it's Linda, and I have a yummy recipe just right for the holidays right now. It's a sweet potato pecan casserole, and I've been researching different recipes. One my sister sent to me that she used, which sounded really good. Another one from the WW app site, and then also a couple other resources that I was looking at. And I kind of combined some of them together. I worked on this last night, putting points in and trying to figure it all out what I like. And so this is what I've come up with. And it goes from servings of like 20 some points down to, I think my sister's was like 8 or 9. And then a few other tweaks that I was able to make. It's four points. 4 points per serving, and each serving is a half a cup, which is the same serving size and all the other recipes. The difference in this one that I noticed in a couple of them that is, of course, I'm going to use sweet potatoes, but you also add carrots, and carrots are 0 points, and they have a lot of the same flavor. I remember when I used to feed my babies baby food, they loved carrots and they loved sweet potatoes the same. So I'm going to give it a try and see how it turns out at 4 points each. I'm willing to try this recipe, and of course if it's on here, it was a success, and so I will post it. And so here, I'm going to get started. Before I get started, let me just tell you real quick what's in here, and then I will go into more detail as I'm cooking. Okay, I've got 4 large sweet potatoes. We're going to do 1 pound of little baby carrots. You can do regular carrots if you have them. Just do, make sure you peel them and do back 1 pound. I already had some marshmallows, so we're going to have the little miniature marshmallows. I can't believe it's not butter light. That's the light, which is the lowest in points. I'm going to add a little bit of pecans at the end. Also, I'm going to add a can of pumpkin to this, which is 0 points. This will give it also a really good taste, and it will, the points will be a lot lower by using some of these little substitutes and still have all the flavor of a sweet potato casserole. And then we've got sugar-free maple syrup. This brand is called Maple Grove, and I hunted all around for this. I found this mainly at Walmart, and I think Stater Brothers here in California, I'm not sure. But when you scan them on your app, you will be able to see, some say 1 point, some say 0. This one's only 0, so this is the one I stock up on. 2 eggs, cinnamon, pumpkin pie spice, then we're going to add a little bit of Swerve Brown Sugar replacement, that's 0 points, some almond milk, just a little bit of it, a dash of salt, and this is the Swerve granulated white sugar, and we're going to add a little bit of that. All this is going to come together and make a yummy casserole that's going to feed 12 people. We are going to a Christmas party tonight for our home fellowship group. That's a church Bible study group we belong to, and we do this once a year. So this is what I'm going to bring, and most of us in our group are all WW, or the others are trying to stay healthy. So we'll see how this goes. Here we go. Okay, we're going to get started. Here are the 4 really large sweet potatoes, and what you're going to want to do is prick each one with a fork all around to let the steam out a little bit. And so I'm just showing you this real quick because I know you probably know how to prick potatoes. You want to put it on, we're going to use 2 different cooking sheets. One for the potatoes, sweet potatoes, and one for the carrots, because the sweet potatoes are going to cook longer than the carrots. So we want to be able to take the carrots out sooner. So this one's going to be for the sweet potatoes. I'm going to lightly spray it with a little bit of butter Pam. And then I'm going to prick these, and I'm going to put these on, and then I'll be right back. So I pricked all the sweet potatoes, put them on the cookie sheet. I put them in the oven. The oven is set at 400 degrees. That's going to be for 30 minutes while the sweet potatoes and the carrots cook. And then I'm going to be taking the carrots out and reducing it to 350. So I just stuck it in there. We're going to do 1 pound of carrots. I have my little scale here, and do it however you want, but just so I can show you about what 1 pound is. I'll put my plate on and let it zero it out. And let me see if I can, it'll show it so I can zero it out here. Then we can get a true reading. All right, now it's at 0. Now I'm going to add carrots. Just off my hand, so. And we're going to do 1 pound of carrots. Approximately 1 pound. You could do a little more, it's not going to matter. Okay, that's a little over 1 pound. So that's how many carrots we're going to cook. I'm going to put some parchment paper on top of this. Isn't this the coolest thing? I just have to brag for a second that my husband made this for me a few years ago. We were visiting in Arkansas. My sister Diana had a similar one in a wood color, and I took a picture of it, and when he came home he drew it up on his computer, and then he made it for me. And then when we redid our kitchen, we had them painted in white to match the new kitchen. And this is my favorite thing. I just ran out of the paper towels, but paper towels, parchment paper, foil, and then this is my press and seal wrap. Everything right here for me to cook. He's such a wonderful guy. Okay, here's our parchment paper. I'm going to add the, before we add the carrots, let's spray a little bit of butter Pam on top of it. And now I'm going to sprinkle the carrots, not that many, and we're going to cook these along with the sweet potatoes I just put in the oven for 30 minutes. And I'll be right back. Okay, I've got them in the oven now. I'm going to set a timer for 30 minutes, and you do it however you want, but I love I have to say A or she'll respond. But anyway, so I don't forget what time to do everything, since everything has to be a done time. So I'm going to tell her how long, and then I'm going to come back and we're going to work on the candied pecans that's going to go on top, the caramelized. Okay, Alexa, set a timer for 30 minutes.
30 minutes, starting now.
Okay, the sweet potatoes are roasting and along with the carrots. And so I'm going to go ahead and do the candied pecans. It calls for half a cup. I put a little bit more than a cup in here. And then you want to crush them. And you can put it in a food processor, but you know, it's not that many. So I'm just going to pound them. Let me move this back so you can kind of see I've got a little hot plate going here. So I just pound them and then put them in a really good sealed little plastic bag. And then I'm going to pound them. And then I'll be right back. I know you don't want to hear this. Okay, let's go. Okay, my timer went off right when I was starting to make the little candied pecans, so I'm going to shift gears real quick here. I took the sweet potatoes and cut them in half. They're like half done. Kind of hard to cut them in half, but since they were cooked halfway, it went through pretty smoothly. The carrots still need to be cooked a little bit longer, so I'm going to stick them back in with it and just watch them to make sure they get all the way down till they're softer. So these are supposed to cook 30 more minutes in 350. I'm going to put these back in. I'll check these in 15 more minutes and we'll see how it goes. Okay, I started to make the caramelized pecans, and then my timer went off, so I had to get the potatoes out of the oven. So that's why you saw the potatoes. Now they're back in, finishing up cooking. In the meantime, my husband came home. And so I've got him in the backyard working on stuff, and hopefully my dogs will be quiet so I can finish this. And then my fans all came on because I had this going and my oven going and keeping it real. So I've crushed the pecans. There's supposed to be like a half a cup. I put a bunch in here, and then I measured out. This isn't quite a half a cup, so there's a little left in here. I'm going to put them all in here because if you compact them down, it's a half a cup. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in. You want to get a hot skillet, and it says don't put any oil or anything, but this type of skillet I always season it with a little bit of coconut oil. So now we're going to just pour the pecans right in here and let them start browning. It says to let them cook for like 4 or 5 minutes till they get fragrant and start to get dark. Then I'm going to add some cinnamon, and we're going to add a little bit of the Swerve sugar-free sweetener, granulated sugar replacement. And so I'll come back when it's time to put that on there, or in there. Okay, it's really cooking down. It says make sure it doesn't burn. Boy, it starts cooking fast. I have a feeling my alarm's going to go off, my smoke alarm any minute, because my dogs are going to start barking, but they're out in the backyard. So let me get this in here. We're going to put 1 teaspoon of the Swerve sugar. Ooh, that's really making it smoke. It's going to go off if it does. Oh well, and a half a teaspoon of cinnamon in here. I'll be right back. Okay, it's smoking, so let me finish doing this here. Anyway, so now we're going to do 1 tablespoon of water. It's probably going to really steam up now. And a tablespoon of the syrup. A little bit more went in there, but it's 0. So that's okay. And it needs to kind of go in here and kind of cook it down just a little bit. You see how long does it say? Just until the liquid dissolves and then take it off heat. And I think that's how it is now. So I'm going to set these aside. So these will go on the very top. So they cooked really fast. Okay, I roasted the carrots for about 15 more minutes and now they're pretty tender. I'm going to take them and put them in the food processor. Kind of hot. Just got them out of the oven. That's pretty simple. Stick this back here. So it's in the food processor. Now we're going to add, I've already pre-measured this, 2 tablespoons, or is it teaspoons? I'm sorry. I'm racing against the clock today. Yeah, 2 tablespoons, I thought so, of the I Can't Believe It's Not Butter Light. We'll put that right on top. And these carrots are hot, so hopefully, you know, that'll melt right down. And then we're going to add a half of a cup of the Swerve Brown Sugar replacement. And then I'm going to mix this all together, and then we'll be back with the next step. Okay, I pulsed everything down in my food processor. You can also use a blender. Or if you have one of those little hand smoothie thing, blender things, or a bullet, maybe, I'm not sure, but food processor is what I use. So I got this pulsed down, and now we're going to add, I put in this cup already, there's 4 teaspoons of the Swerve white sugar, granulated sugar. It's a sugar replacement, along with 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and 1 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spice. That's going to go on top of that, and then we're going to blend that all together. And that's the next step. Okay, that's all pulsed together. Looks really good. And now I'm going to scrape down the sides. Everything down here. Scrape down the sides. And then we're going to add 1 can of pure pumpkin. That's not the pumpkin pie mixed stuff. It's the pure pumpkin where it's just pumpkin. Add 1 can of that to this. This is 0 points. I'm so hungry right now. We're going to have a lot of food there tonight, and everybody's trying to cook as healthy as they can, which is good because there's so many parties and stuff going on right now. Okay, so now I'm going to mix this all together, and I'll be right back. I forgot, you're supposed to add 1 tablespoon of the sugar-free maple syrup also to this after you put the pumpkin in. So, you know, just pour it through my little hole right here, and I'll mix it up some more. Okay, the sweet potatoes are still cooking. They're pretty big, so they're taking a little while. Of course, it hasn't been an hour yet, but I have a feeling it's going to take over an hour for them. I finished pureeing down all the other ingredients, the carrots with the spices, along with the pumpkin. And then I'm going to take it now and I'm going to transfer it to a separate pan, a separate bowl, I'm sorry. And then I'm going to spray, or I already did, spray a oblong large, baking dish that once we get the sweet potatoes all mashed in and mix this all together, it will go in there. So that's going to be the next step, just waiting for the sweet potatoes to get done. Okay, I'm just going to show you, look how good this looks. I'll see if I can zoom in on it a little bit, because I'm the only photographer here, but it kind of gives you an idea. Whoops, see. this is the sweet potatoes, not sweet potatoes, but the carrots, along with the pumpkin and all the other spices. And anyway, this is what it looks like once it's been pureed in the food processor. It's pretty thick. Also, if you like yours a little bit sweeter, add a couple more tablespoons of the Swerve sugar-free granulated sugar replacement, which is what I did because I like mine a little sweeter. So it's up to you. Okay, the sweet potatoes are finally done. Actually, these took around 50 more minutes instead of 30 to 45, probably because they're really big ones. This was, the first time they cooked for 30 minutes, and then I checked them, and then you're supposed to cook them for 30 more, but actually I had to cook them for like 50 more because I wanted to make sure they were nice and done. They're all done. I've been kind of letting them try to cool right now, and it says just to scoop out the flesh and to put it in the bowl, but the skin is just peeling off. I've been sitting here, it's a little hot, but not bad. So I'm just gonna peel the skin off, and then I'm gonna throw these in the food processor, and then we're almost done. Okay, I got the sweet potatoes all in my food processor. Boy, it filled it all the way up. Now, I think before I add milk, I'm gonna go ahead and try to blend it down a little bit, and then I'll be right back. Okay, I've got them pureed down a little bit now, so I got some room here. I'm gonna add a half a cup of unsweetened almond milk. And then I'm gonna add 3/4 of a teaspoon of salt. Okay, final step here. It's all pureed. It's gonna go in here. I've already put some down in here. There was a few chunks that didn't puree, so I left them back in there and ran it real quick and just zapped those down a little bit. And now this is going in the large bowl that already has the sweet potatoes and pumpkin and stuff in it and spices that I put together earlier. So we're going to blend all of this together, mix this all together, and then I'm going to add 2 eggs. We'll mix this all together, and after this is all mixed together, I'm going to pour it here into the casserole pan, and little baking rectangular dish here. And it's going to go back in the oven for like 15 to 20 minutes. I'm going to put the marshmallows on top and the candied pecans. It said that make sure that if you're putting marshmallows on top, that you eat it like within an hour and a half, or you serve within an hour and a half, because otherwise they'll start to kind of melt and just kind of gooey all over. So this is perfect because it's 5:40 and we have to leave in like a half hour to go to our home fellowship. We're eating like 6:30, so perfect timing. So this is all going to go in here. I can see a few chunks of the sweet potato, which is really good because I wanted a few chunks in with it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and pause this. Okay, I've got the sweet potato mash all in here. Now we're going to top it with a half of a cup of miniature marshmallows, and it says packed down. I packed them down, so now I'm going to sprinkle them all around. Let me move my spoon out of here. So I'll cover the tops, and then you increase the oven to 375. I'm going to put the marshmallows on, then sprinkle the caramel pecans on top of this. Then I'm going to drizzle a little bit of the sugar-free maple syrup on top of everything. It's going to go in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. And just wash my hands again. So I'm just going to sprinkle it all on here. This is the candied pecans that I made earlier. And they're all going on top, and they'll melt. The marshmallows are going to melt all over it, and it's going to be so yummy. I'm so hungry right now. Are you hungry, honey? You gave me a thumbs up. Yeah. Are you camera shy? Okay. Now Got that all kind of distributed evenly. Now I'm going to sprinkle, or not sprinkle, drizzle maple syrup. This is the sugar-free 0 point maple syrup. And it says, you know, do 2 or 3 tablespoons. I like mine kind of sweet, so this is really good. I've got a little bit left in here, so I'm just going to use the rest. Now it's going to go in the oven 15 to 20 minutes on 375, and then I'll show you what it looks like before we head off. Okay, it's all finished now, and I've got my love with me, who's always so patient when I say, turn the TV off right now while I'm trying to do one more. Anyway, it finished. We're getting ready to go to our home fellowship potluck Christmas dinner. And so it turned out really good. I can't wait to try it. I made this yesterday. This is the cheesecake. You can find the recipe for this also on YouTube that I've made before that is so good. And then I have a can of sweet sugar-free cherries that people can put on top, cherry pie filling, and then with the light whipped cream. So we're headed off, and hope you all have a Merry Christmas. If you like my videos, please share them with others. And hope to see you soon, and stay safe. Here's to a new year. Bye. I just got home from our Christmas party with our home fellowship. We had so much food, a lot of low points, and a couple things not so low, but majority of it was pretty good. And this turned out amazing. It's the only reason I had to come back on and say it. For being 4 points per serving, it tastes like 5 times that much, like a regular, you know, sweet potato casserole. Anyway, I'm kind of tired, but I just wanted to share that it's really good. I do plan to make this probably over and over again because everybody loved it, and it turned out so good. It was a little time consuming only because I made it from fresh sweet potatoes, but they caramelized and so good. You don't get that flavor from a can. And so I just wanted to share this, and I hope you enjoy it. If you want the recipe, remember just to click on the little upside down arrow underneath the description, like all my other videos, and I'll have the complete recipe there. And I hope you enjoy this. Of course, there's no print button, but you can see it. You can maybe screenshot it. That's what some people do. Enjoy. Good night.